Hello everybody, my name is Isaiah Taylor of the Autistic Modelers Society, and I'm here to show you my completed hull section for my 1-350 Minicraft RMS Titanic model. So remember in the last video, I was basically describing the whole build. I was basically like telling people what it looks like. It's a fairly large kit. Relatively speaking, it's around 30 inches. And of course, if you saw that video, it was painted mostly black because I think it was molded in a black mold. So of course, obviously, you had to paint it, and you had to paint it. For me, I had to paint it in a more realistic fashion. So recall in the last video, I used a color red called a colonial red. It's a kind of a dark red. It was a satin color, but of course I am trying to make a James Cameron replica that's very faithful to the James Cameron model. It's not going to be 100%, but I want to get at least somewhere like around 80 or 90% there and higher. So that red, that colonial red didn't really do a lot. So actually, I ordered from Amazon a Krylon red oxide primer. So it's a more rust colored red, and of course when I redid the paint job, it looks much more close to realistic. It's a matte color, so it's not glossy, so it doesn't have that weird sheen to it, thank goodness. Of course I used the Rust-Oleum flat black painter's touch for the main hull, and then I used the Testor's flat white for the beginnings of the superstructure, and I applied the gold stripe around the main hull, here to the stern. Whoops. It's the thing about filming in an apartment, you run out of space. And of course the bow. Applying those decals was fairly difficult. They were fairly difficult. The decals were not really made well, and once you touch them, sometimes they would like flake off. So what I then had to do was I had to then use some acrylic King's Gold acrylic craft paint to paint in the areas that flaked off. So I had to do that. But other than that, it has turned out fairly well. If I zoom in, you can see that I'm adding rust stains right there, to make it look a little aged. I had some people kind of say that I went a little bit overboard with the rust. I can kind of see that, although I'm in the process of kind of cleaning that up. But yeah, so there is a little bit more or less rust on this build than I guess others. Of course, you have rust buildup where the anchor is going to be, and then I have rust stains dripping from the basically the beginnings of the superstructure. And of course this goes all the way to the stern, and I will be cleaning that up a little bit. And like I said, notice where some of the gold striping has chafed off, so I need to repaint some of that. Okay. I have applied some of the decals. You know, the watermark indicator. Sorry, the watermark indicator, if you can see that. And then of course there is the name Titanic that I applied to that, and of course the bow um, the bow indicator, number indicator. So for the rust, I used a Tamiya weathering kit. That's the one I used, and I used the rust setting. Very realistic. I was pretty surprised. Very realistic. I also used some AK naval rust paint or rust formula. I used some of that, and I basically painted parts of the bow and I guess some parts of the stern with the rust, with this rust formula. I just added the middle anchor. Added the middle anchor. Again, as I said, I'm waiting for later on in the year. I'm gonna buy another 350 kit because this one came actually incomplete. This was a used kit, and I'm going to obviously add the rest of the kit, and of course add the two port and starport propellers and the propeller wings, or the propeller, you know, shafts. So can't wait to do that. I've already also added I've already added the one of the anchors, if you can see it. One of the anchors I've already added, so that's cool. So I did that. I added one of the anchors, and yeah, so that's basically an update. And of course, as you can see, I have this is some of the lighting that I'm going to be using, because what I did was I drilled holes. I don't remember the exact size of the pin vise tools, but I drilled some, maybe like 0.23 inches or something like that. But I was able to drill holes in the hull, which was pretty easy. I was surprised. I was kind of surprised how easy drilling some of the holes were. I thought the bigger the kit, the more thicker the plastic. But actually, no. Actually, drilling holes was actually quite easy. I got that done within 2 weeks. And if I spend like 2 hours on it, I got this done in like 2 weeks. So yeah, so of course with that, I'm going to be lighting the inside. So that's going to be fun, and of course, I drilled the holes in accordance with what it looks like in the like in actual real life, or in paintings, on some of the light designs. Of course, I drilled holes at the very of course in this area I drilled holes here, and then of course I drilled holes here, which are going to be regular 5mm warm white LEDs are going to go here. These are 12 volt light strips, which are going to go in basically inside. They're going to go in like rows, in like a row. I'm going to have like 3 in the center, but most of it's going to be on the periphery, of the keel. So that's gonna be amazing. And of course, a 12 volt is gonna go towards a wall socket. So that's what that's gonna be. So yeah, that's basically the update. Obviously, looks much better once it's out of that all black factory mold, and it looks very realistic, very beautiful, very realistic. Definitely one of the most authentic kits that I've probably done. So I'm definitely looking forward to the next step. I'm really definitely looking forward to lighting it and putting the lights in. Of course, I'm going to obviously make a video about that. That's going to be part 3, lighting the main hull, which is what this is. This is the main hull. So I can't wait to share that with people. And then of course after lighting the main hull, obviously, and once I get the other 350 kit, we're obviously going to start building the rest of the superstructure, the boat deck, adding the mast, the funnels, all that jazz. So that's going to obviously be a blast. Because this model is so big, I'm gonna have to do things one at a time. So obviously I'm gonna have to. So obviously the main hull is mostly finished, with the exception of I need to, again, like I said, add the propellers. So most of the main hull is finished. All I have to do now is just put the lights in. All the holes have been drilled out. I am going to use some black construction paper, so I can block out some of the holes here. Some of the windows that were already factory cut here. So I'm going to use some black construction paper to do that with. So yeah, so that's basically a wrap. Looking very good, looking very amazing. I was really surprised that it's come out looking as realistic as it does. And like I said, despite a little bit more rust than I kind of went a little rust crazy, but that can easily be fixed up. Clearly, definitely looking like, if I was James Cameron back in like 1996 or something, this is what I'm definitely. I personally believe I'm definitely on the right track with this. Um, so basically, what's going to happen once I put the lights in, I'm going to do a light test. That's where I hook up all the lights to a 12-volt jack, and I test it with a wall socket, and I basically see how it looks, what tweaks to make, and then I'm going to have to cover it with a with some of the parts, some of the plating, some of the deck plating that they give me in the kit. I'm going to use that to cover that up. I'm not going to use it in the final project, but I'm going to use it to see basically what the lighting looks like. Basically do a light test, see where the lighting is, and all of that jazz. So yes, so the next video will be lighting the kit. It will be me going over soldering and placing the 12-volt lights, LED light strips. These are warm white, by the way. And then also placing the LED lights to light up the stern area, and of course the bow area. And obviously after that, we'll then move on to lighting the boat deck and the superstructure. So the next videos are going to be certainly much more hands-on. They're going to be certainly much more, me using these helping hands here that I just bought, and me making a tutorial about how I do my lighting. So it's definitely going to be hands-on, definitely going to be a very intensive build. Now, of course, we're only doing, like I said, the main hull. The superstructure, the boat deck is going to come at a later date, where with the boat deck, I'm going to use, for the very, 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 very small lighting, use fiber optics. These are fiber optics connected to a 5mm LED diode, clear LED diode. So I'm going to use these for basically some of the deck lighting and whatnot. And then I'm going to use for the rest of the superstructure, especially the promenade decks here, I'm going to use Pico LEDs, but then I'm going to take a diffuse 1.8 millimeter LED diode to put over that to make it look like an actual light fixture. So yeah, so the next couple of videos are going to be very, very hands-on, very informative. They're going to be much more crafty. All I had to do here was just basically just paint it. I just had to paint it. I detailed it. You know, like I said, with the Tamiya kit, and it actually carried a little mascara brush, because that's basically what you're doing, a mascara brush. It does have soot, and I do plan on painting the insides, smutting up the insides with soot for the funnel, the insides of the funnel, excuse me. So I'm gonna do that. You know, and of course, you know, when obviously I get the other kit, I can obviously make the other two funnels. So I'm only going to be using the soot and the rust. And of course they give you 3 with snow, but we're just using soot and rust at this point. Okay, well, that will do it for the Autistic Model Society. Stay tuned, and I will see you next time.